right now is we've added the pieces that really go with the group that we already have. You know, obviously when you have the players that have left, you know, the caliber of players that we've had and the guys that have had the production that they've had, you know, we know that you're not going to replace one guy with one guy. Like, we understand that. And, you know, we just are trying to fit the best fit for our locker room right now. That's what we're looking for anytime we bring anybody else in.
Are you where you thought you'd be when you took the job? And you inherit a lot of pieces where you don't have any control over. Now do you feel like this is a roster more reflective of what you've been looking for?
I think this is closer than what we talked about when we first started. We were, sometimes you have to go through a couple years and really figure guys out and who fits and who wants to either move on or you want to move on from. So I think we're closer to what we've been looking for, you know, heading into the draft. I mean, we still have some pieces to add, and we're looking really to kind of see how it plays out. I mean, we'll see what goes on after, you know, talking with other teams in the league, and you just never know who else is going to shake free from here now until, you know, the start of the season.
What do you guys get in replacing Pouncey with Kilgore?
Yeah, it's probably, you know, that's a tough one because, you know, I think Pouncey's it's a tough word to use, replace. You know, I think, you know, when you have a guy that's done as much for this organization as Mike has, I don't know if you can really replace him. I know Daniel will come on here and really have his, you know, put his spin on kind of that position, and you know, he probably has some, you know, some different traits that, you know, are strengths to him, and you know, we'll just kind of see how everything goes and how that group gels together, because really that's what we're looking for, see if we can get those three interior guys working well together and, you know, see how well we can play this year. I think it was probably just the right time for us. You know, we have a lot of young players in that D-line room. We're kind of moving some things around this year, both on offense and defense. So, you know, you have to look at everything financially, you know, just kind of how you want to go about, you know, heading forward.
And with that defensive tackle group, do you feel like Phillips and Godchow can play more snaps? Devon already had 500 as a rookie.
Yeah, we'll kind of see. We'll keep adding to that position, keep creating competition, and we'll see how it really plays out this season. You never know with injury and, you know, moves that are made, whether it be the draft or trading for somebody or picking somebody up. You just never know how it's going to shake out.
In what ways can Wilson and Amendola fill some of the Jarvis Landry?
Yeah, I don't know. It's really going to be – I'm looking at that as more of a group effort. I'm probably going to spread it out a little more. Probably going to, you know, ball distribution will be a little more, you know, wide range than, you know, one guy. So we'll kind of see how we play this out, who's playing where. We'll probably have guys moving around in multiple spots. I think, you know, between Devontae, Kenny, you know, those two, and now you had Jakeem in there, you had Drake in there, now you got Frank Gore. So we got a lot of guys that we're going to need to get the ball to. Well, his speed's hard to ignore. You know, we saw firsthand how fast he is and what he can do, how he can stretch the field vertically. You know, and then I think I look at a guy that when you put the ball in his hands, he makes plays. And I don't think I've seen too many wide receivers where, you know, a team's actually handing the ball off to him and he's running between the tackles at, you know, and he's not a running back. I mean, but he has toughness, he has vision, he has ability to do a lot of different things, which is very intriguing to us, and we feel like we have a lot of things that we can do with him.
And why Danny Amendola?
I think Danny's, you know, fits into this system probably really well. You know, when we started this thing, we had Wes. You know, I mean, he kind of originated that position up in New England, and by getting him, it's you know, we have the type of offense that really fits him. I think he creates a lot of separation. He's one of those guys that make the quarterback's job really easy. You know, he doesn't just get a little bit open. There's a big window there. The quarterback has margin for error, so it's something that we're excited about, and I think he brings that element. He's a winner. He's played in a lot of big games. He's won Super Bowls. He's made big plays in huge games, to game-changing plays, and I think he's going to be a great example for the rest of our locker room.
Why bring in Frank Gore at his stage of his career?
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt Frank with anything. As far as what I know a lot of people are looking at his age, but with him it's irrelevant. He's a different dude. I've known him for 10 years. We were together a long time ago, and he just hadn't changed. When you watch him run, the physicality he plays with, pad level, the way that he's able to drive defenders, when they're hanging on him and carry him still. He's a good fit for us. I think he's a great guy for us to have in that locker room and that running back room. I think he's a great guy for Drake to kind of see work day in and day out, and those two guys kind of being able to do their thing together. That's going to be a fun thing to watch.
So how do you envision using both him and Drake?
We'll figure it out. I mean, it's no different than what we were kind of doing with Damian and Kenyon last year. I mean, it's a long season. We kind of got caught in a couple situations last year where Kenyon was, the only guy we had, and he had to take the majority of the carries, and really that's not what we want over a 16-game season. That's going to be tough. So we'll make sure that we spread this thing out well, and we'll use both those guys the right way.
We've spoken so highly of Jarvis, especially the first year when you took the job. Was there a point at which maybe your vision and his went different directions?
I don't think so. I think when you kind of get to that free agency point, it's not as easy as you think. You're talking amount of money somebody else wants and what you think, not necessarily what they deserve, but how it can work for your organization. And we just couldn't find a way to meet in the middle there. And that really the next step for us was with the franchise tag, and then we ended up moving on from him. And he'll do well, and he's around a good group of guys now. That group's going to be good, and he'll do what he's always done. He'll have a successful season again, and just see how it plays out for him.
Did you and him end the season in a good place as far as your relationship?
I thought we did. I mean, the last time that we spoke, everything was positive, and it's just the business side of everything. It's just not very fun.
Is there kind of a common thread among the types of players you're trying to bring in now that you want to get?
I think the common thread is we're just trying to get guys with experience, winning, been successful, done it right, professionals, just good examples, but at the same time, guys that can play. We're trying to get guys that fit into what we're looking to do, and right now we feel great about the guys that we've acquired.
How good do you feel about this offensive line? You have depth. What do you like about Sitton? How much do you?
I'm just glad I don't have to hear about guard play anymore. So keep that one down for a while. But I think anytime that you have competition, that you have veteran players, I like where we're at with our tackles right now. I think those two guys are only going to become better with the guys that they're playing with. It'll be interesting for us to watch. I like our depth. We're just going to have to get that cohesiveness we need. I know that we've talked about that a lot, where we're always trying to figure out is what's the best thing to do. Practicing together, does that matter? If it's every day for 3 months, what's that going to do? And I think we're all in the same boat when we're saying, yeah, that's going to be a major factor. If we can keep guys healthy and practice together and get those reps together, that's going to be important.
When you think about what you plan to do in the spring and the summer and Ryan, is there any sort of easing in, limiting?
I don't know if there's anything about him that's going to be easing in. I think he's ready to go. I already know I'm going to get some dirty looks when I say, how you doing, how's it feel? He's not going to want to hear it. He's just going to want to go. But, we'll just keep, I'll just try to do a good job of not bothering him too much, but at the same time kind of figure out where he's at. I know our training staff's going to do a great job of just making sure everything's good. He's been really honest with us as far as how he feels and where he's at, so we'll kind of see how that plays out.
Running and protecting himself.
I mean, he's going to play his game. I don't think he ever really put himself in harm's way to begin with. I thought he was always smart. Occasionally, I would have loved to see him get down, where he tried to, but it was usually at the right time where he knows he had no choice, and he had to lower his shoulder and try to run through a guy for a big play in the fourth quarter. I know it feels like forever ago, but I mean he got hurt in the pocket. Throwing a ball. So, really it's about if we do a good job protecting him and he gets the ball on time, I don't feel like he's going to get hit as much as he has in the past.
How do you think you might be able to help Brock Osweiler? What does he actually bring?
Well, I really like the competition we're going to be able to have between those three guys, that we have on the roster right now. We'll kind of see how everything else goes moving forward with the draft coming up. I think, Brock, he's got the tool set really that we saw when we drafted him in Denver. He's had a little bit of a rocky road here the last few years. I don't know. It's just when you're used to working with a guy, then you kind of know each other already, and you're able to kind of skip a few steps and get right into the, kind of the meat of the action there, and just get into fine-tuning a few things. I think he'll do well, in practice with us, and he'll be able to get on the same page with guys really fast, and kind of knows how things need to be done. It's just going to be about, you hit the preseason. How does that really work out? Can you get those other guys to play well around you, and can you make the right decisions?
Going back to Tannehill a second, so he will be ready to go at the start of training camp?
He'll be ready to go in OTAs. He'll be doing stuff, from the beginning of the offseason. We keep trying to look to address this, really kind of probably got one hole right now. We're looking for either somebody to step up, and take that spot, or, we got to bring somebody else in, whether it be the draft, trade, somebody getting cut from another team. So, we'll kind of see how it plays out going forward. It's hard to predict right now. We got some young players that we're encouraged by. We feel like, Kiko and Raekwon are two guys that we really like. We'll be excited to get Raekwon back. We'll just kind of see how it plays out. It's hard to predict anything right now, especially since we still have the draft. We still got a lot of time before the season starts. We're just going to have to see how it plays out.
At that position, what did Stephon Anthony show you?
I think we got a good first look at him. I thought he did a great job in practice. The time that we got him in the games, he did a lot of good things, and we're just going to have to kind of see how it plays out. I don't want to promise anything to anybody. I think we're just going to, competition's going to be a good thing for us.
Without asking you to tip your hand regarding the draft, just the future of your roster, do you believe it's imperative that you guys get a good young quarterback in the draft this year?
I think Chris will do a good job of putting the draft board together, and we'll pick the right guys. For me to say that, it's just hard to know. I don't know how the draft's going to fall. I don't know who. What if 3 teams trade up even higher than what we've been seeing, and everybody's gone? Are we taking a guy just to take a guy? I'd love to add a quarterback as much as anybody else, but at the same time, I want it to be the right guy for us.
Adam, with the acquisition of Quinn and Hayes coming back, are you going to find yourself almost having a hard time figuring out how to get all those DNs?
I was always told you can never have enough DNs and corners by somebody, so we'll figure it out. I'd rather have more than not enough.
What do you think, aside from Ryan's injury, the biggest issue with the team? How are they going about trying to fix it?
I think we had there's some big things and some little things that came up last year, and a lot of us had to go deal through a lot of adversity. So I think it was a learning lesson for a lot of us. I know I went through a lot of things last year where, they were not in the handbook. It was some tough spots you get put in. But I thought some guys did well. They handled adversity well. Some guys didn't handle it as well. We probably learned a lot about a lot of guys. It was one of those things at the time you're going through it. It's not really the funnest thing to do, but great learning experience moving forward.
What did you learn about the job from dealing with some crazy stuff?
Yeah. Just you can expect anything. I mean, you just never know what it could be.
Did it make you better?
Yeah. I mean, it was either adapt or die. I mean, you had no choice. That's why I saw it was had to figure out a way, to deal with the situation, still get ready for the game, work to get our coaching staff ready, make sure our coaching staff was getting our players ready. It was, it was interesting to go through a lot of things last year that we went through.
How do you think that it impacted the team's performance? All those constant practices?
You wish you could say it didn't have any impact. I think a lot of guys would say, just talking to them after the season, that's, some guys got, distracted by it, like certain things. Some guys, certain things, over others. I think everybody had a little different feel each week of if something came up, if that bothered them or it didn't. So I think everybody was a little bit different, but I think we kind of fell apart to that a little bit.
Is there an example of that adversity that we don't know about that you can share?
No.
Adam, I apologize if you've been asked this before, but what attracted you to Danny Amendola, and how do you see him incorporating into your offense?
Really just, a guy that really fits into our, what we're doing, experienced guy that's been in big games, made plays in big games, been part of an organization that's won, a lot. And he's a guy that can absolutely be a huge impact in our locker room. He can, help other players on offense. He can help our team in general. And, I think it'll be good, for our guys to see kind of how he works, how he does meetings, how he goes about all, his business. I remember when we signed Wes in Denver, that was one of the biggest things that he did was when our young guys saw him practice, they were shocked because they couldn't believe how hard he went, how fast he did everything. There was no half speed or take this play off. It just didn't exist. He was full speed all the time. Thank you.
We went into the decision to follow through on the fifth-year option for Javon.
I think we looked through all our options. I think he had a chance to kind of think through how he felt. We had a lot of discussion with him, his agent, us, between, Dow and Jeremiah and Chris Cooper. And, we felt like at the end of the day, Jawan wanted to be back. He wanted to be back. He wanted to get an opportunity to really, finish off last year the right way. He wanted to continue building on what he felt he was building on. And, we had a great conversation to where I think all of us felt really good about, he deserves that shot to get what he wants, where he can come in, he can be a part of that group and be an impact guy for us. I think he, the biggest thing that excited me, like he wanted to be, it meant a lot for him to be back. He wanted to be on this team. He wanted to be a part of this. He wanted to be, part of us taking last season, building off it, and then finding out a way to win this year.
What do you think you lost a lot of veterans in the last offseason, including leaders?
We'll find out. I mean, right now. But, I mean, I feel like we've added more guys than we lost. I know free agency, a lot of guys are taken away there, and, whether we're, release guys or traded guys. But I think we're adding good pieces to the puzzle here, and I feel like we're only going to get better leadership-wise. Did Rizzy put you up? Did Rizzy call this one in?
Yeah.
Is this Darren from Fort Lauderdale?
No.
Yeah, we lost a good player. We could. I think when we started this thing, we knew, between Mike and Walt both being up, it wasn't going to be an easy thing for us to get both those guys back. And I think what we kind of predicted for ourselves and what happened was two different things. I really felt like Mike was going to be quick. I didn't think he'd last this long, on the open market. And we wanted to make sure we got Walt done, and we were able to do that. A couple things we weren't able to get done to help our special teams, but I think Walt's a guy that we're going to see really step up in a leadership role this year, and I don't know if anybody can really replace Mike as far as his leadership goes, and his ability to make plays was outstanding. I mean, he's a tackling machine, but we also have a lot of guys that were impact players that we still have on the roster between Mike Hall and Walt, and the rest of that. I mean, we got a good crew of guys, and we've added some guys that are actually going to be able to help on special teams. So we'll kind of see how it plays out.
Adam, what excited you about Robert Quinn to be able to get him without a ton of compensation back, still in 27 only?
Yeah, I mean, you got a young player that rushed the passer, loves playing football, and he's got a great motor. I mean, you just watch him on film, the guy just keeps rushing the passer, and I think, adding him and then getting William Hayes back, that was big for us. I mean, those are two guys to add to that room that, we feel really good about. I think getting William back was big for a lot of us. I mean, we really wanted to make sure he was in our building this year. He was very impactful. It was unfortunate he got hurt last year, but, I think that was something that was lingering for a long time with him, and somehow he's played through, and I think it just got to the point where he couldn't handle it anymore. I mean, the pain was just that extreme. And the doctors were right. They said as soon as he has his surgery, he's going to feel like he's ready to go the next day, and he did. And I'm excited to see a healthy William Hayes go.
In terms of your defensive tackle, Jordan Phillips, Davin Godchild, and Vincent Taylor, how much development are you expecting from that trio? And also, do you feel like you have enough of that?
I mean, we're always going to look to add. We're going to look to add competition. I think these guys they're only going to get better. I like what we're doing, with Chris Kasarik. He's going to get those guys better. That's all he's ever done in his career. He's taking guys that sometimes when you watch some of his past film, like some of those guys that you're not really sure who they are, but they're playing hard, they're getting to the ball, they're harassing the quarterback. He gets guys better. And I think those guys fit in the mold that he's looking for, and he's going to get those players better. And, if things play out the way that they seem to always play out, we're going to probably add, multiple pieces somewhere to where we create competition, and we'll kind of see how that plays out.
How big was it bringing William Hayes back to the fold?
I mean, it was huge. He's probably one of my favorite guys to just watch, play in games and practice, and his love for football, it's hard to match, and I think he's contagious. Other guys really, feed off of his energy, and especially on game day, the physicality he plays with, I know we love using this word, setting the edge. He does a great job doing that. So that's something that he brings that, we need.
Adam, what kind of step could AJ Derby make after being with the team through OTAs this year in training camp?
Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing what we can do with him. I think when he came on board, I wasn't really sure how, where he was health-wise. It was just kind of a weird situation, and being able to, seeing him go out the first day and he's running around and he's fine, and I could tell the quarterbacks really liked working with him, because anytime you get a guy that's been a former quarterback, he seems to have a great feel for where to be, where to fit in, what he's, kind of what that guy's thinking. So, we'll kind of see what we can do developing him. I think he's one of those guys that has a great feel in the slot, and kind of that one-on-one spot versus safety or linebacker. We'll see how it plays out.
And as far as the rest of you have that position at the moment, has Duarte taken any step as a blocker to make you think?
I think so. We did something in the middle of the season last year where, kind of talking to Shane and Clyde, we talked about putting him in with the ones and really just kind of seeing what happened. And Shane did a good job. He put him in there with the majority of run plays and pass protections, and he did it. We're in pads, and it was great to see him really throwing his hat in there. He was being physical. He was doing things right. So that gave us a lot of confidence that we feel like things are heading in the right direction. I think this will be a it's going to be a really important offseason for him. So when he hits training camp, he's not thinking, he's playing, reacting, he's able to play physical, and then at the same time, when he gets his opportunities in the passing game, he makes the most of them.
How would you describe what Sidney and Kilgore kind of bring together, and maybe how their skill set and their personality types might impact the overall production of the line?
I haven't been around those two guys long enough to really. We're talking about a couple hours I've been with them. So I really need to experience this. I can go off of what I've heard, which has been positive for us. I'm going off of what two guys that were with them for 2 years, their experience with them in Chicago. So I know with what we're getting with Josh, we're getting a guy that's been a Pro Bowler. He's played with an elite quarterback. I think he's excited to have this opportunity, kind of being able to help a young player that's playing next to him. I think that's something that really excited him. As far as Daniel goes, it's I got nothing but positive feedback from those guys out there. I have a great relationship, between Kyle and John and Prague and Jed and all those guys. Those guys couldn't say enough about him. So, I feel like we're getting two good dudes that are hard workers, that want to do it right, that want to be a part of the solution of us winning. So I think we're going to have, the positive results we're looking for.
I was curious about one thing with the draft. A lot of the quarterbacks that said this isn't going to be what you think it is. A lot of the quarterbacks that said how much they enjoyed meeting with you, that they really liked you and kind of connected with you.
You don't sound surprised.
Yeah. Well, the one that really didn't surprise me was Mayfield.
Right.
That, just personality-wise, I'm not asking for like a breakdown or whether you want to pick him or any of that. Personality-wise, he seems like he would be perfect with you. You guys seem almost the same.
I don't know. We're close in personality, probably. I enjoy watching him play. I like the way he plays. That whole group of guys. It's rare that you're talking about this many guys at the top of the draft. So, whoever's getting who, you're getting good players across the board. You're getting guys that are confident. You're getting guys with a lot of talent. So, really, it's going to be kind of really your flavor as far as the quarterback goes. I think Baker's personality is something that's infectious to other guys. I think, there's a competitiveness that you love to see. You can tell that he don't want to lose at anything that he's doing. It doesn't matter, football. I don't know what else that he could possibly be doing, but whatever it is, he wants to win at. And as a coach, you always love guys like that. You want to be around them because that gives you a little bit more. You want to make sure that you do more for that guy to put him in a better position. So when you get that kind of energy from guys, it's fun to be around. And I've enjoyed the amount of time that we've been able to spend with him. Whether it be the Senior Bowl, Combine, when we do our workouts, pro days, things like that. It's fun to go out and watch young guys kind of throw and see how they act around other guys. Kind of that evaluation process. You wish you weren't so crunched with time, but it is what it is, and it's great experiences though to go through those.
You seem to be a coach that lets his players have a personality. Do you think some of the stuff he does, he's admit they have crossed the line and he learns from it?
I don't want to expose myself as far as maybe how some of the things I do aren't always great, sometimes, passion, emotion gets the best of you, and sometimes you do things that, are positive. Sometimes you do things that you look back and wish that you would have done something different. So that's part of this sport. That's what it is. It's emotion, and it's things are had. It's a violent game, and a lot of things happen in a matter of it's split seconds. So you just go with your gut, and then if you screw up, you try to fix it, down the road.
It's been mostly two quarterbacks here on the 53 since you've been here. But if you're able to draft one, do you give more thought this year?
Probably.
Maybe?
Yeah. I think that's something that, I don't know how many. We were carrying 5 last year at one point. We survived. So, I don't know. It felt like it. It was a crowded room. I know that. But, we're gonna do what's best for the team. We're gonna do what we think's. That's an important position. And I like the guys that we have on our roster right now. And then if we add somebody else, obviously we're doing it for good reason. So, at that position, the more guys that we can bring along, the more guys we can develop. I think it's hard to just say we're going to keep a practice squad guy, because last year, we felt really good about how David was coming along. That wasn't an option. Like, letting him move on was not going to be an option for us.
Right guard, you're thinking there. You got a couple options, obviously, with Jesse and Ted.
Yeah, I mean, we'll kind of see how this plays out. I don't want to. We haven't really got a chance to meet with those guys and talk football with them. So we're going to kind of work through this thing and kind of see how it plays out. I mean, we got a lot of time left.
Adam, with Lippett coming back and then with all the young guys on the roster, what's your confidence level at cornerback?
I think it's one of those positions you can't have enough of, right? So, I mean, we're always going to look to add that position. You guys talk about drafting a quarterback every year, like draft a corner every year, because it's a tough position to play. It's becoming a position where it's high priced, where all of a sudden we're looking at Xavier's coming up, his contract here pretty soon, and we see him getting better.
Coach, what kind of football players are the Chiefs getting with Damian Williams?
Tough, football intelligence, playmaker. I mean, just a guy that's, when Sundays come around, he's going to give you everything he has. And when things are going bad, you get the ball to him and he'll make something happen. He's got a passion for the game. He's probably one of my, he's one of the guys that I'd love being around, whether it be practice or game day. Just seeing him grow over the time that we've been together, it was a great experience.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Adam, he signed pretty cheaply. Why is he not there?
I think when he really entered this process, I think they were kind of more than what we were really at, and I think by the time that it kind of circled back around, we were already kind of moving on, and I was looking for kind of what we ended up getting with Frank. I wanted that veteran guy that had a lot of experience and really could, help Drake kind of take his game to the next level.
The way Lippett played a couple of years ago, and obviously the way Tank came on last year, do you view sort of a competition?
I think at that spot, you're always, you play so many guys. You're playing 5 DBs at a time so much, and guys get banged up and they're in and out. So, we're just going to keep competing out there and kind of see how it all unfolds and try to add as many guys as we can and get these young guys better. And good thing was we played a ton of guys last year, especially in the back end. So I think we're only going to get better out there.
And Tank's rookie season, Adam, you would assess how?
It's hard to say. I think he got better. I think there was times where, he wishes he could go back and do some things different, but that's the rookie year. We'd love to see him come in really with the mindset of that's his spot, he's not going anywhere, and really be aggressive as far as not letting anybody take that spot that he's had.
With Parkey gone, is his philosophical thought on preferring maybe a veteran kicker as opposed to?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll figure that one out kind of as time goes on. I know Riz and Moofer, they're getting put through the gauntlet right now. I don't know where Darren is right now. He's Vancouver, so I don't know. I don't know where he is. He might be not. I don't think he's in the country, so that would have been hard for him to call for Fort Lauderdale.
It would have been different.
It's really messed up letting Parkey go. It's not a question or an answer.
Albert Wilson is going.
I got to be careful right here, right? This is where you got any advice right now?
Yes.
Experience 30 years doing this.
Albert Wilson is going to be productive for the Miami Dolphins because what? Doing what?
I think the variety of things that he can do. I think his speed. I think the fact that when you put the ball in his hands, he's a guy that can take a throw behind the line of scrimmage, and he can create a 70-yard touchdown.
things like that. I mean, it's really impressive what he can do. It's really about getting the ball in his hand, but at the same time, he has flexibility outside, inside. He has a very, a wider range of route tree than what he did when he started in the NFL. I think he's a quick study as well. When you watch him from 16 to 17, you see extremes of improvement in certain areas, and I think that's something that we noticed with him right away, where when you watch those 2 years, you went, wow, he became an impact player.
Coach, with Josh Sitton, offensive line signings are never the sexiest thing, but what can he mean for your team?
Veteran player, guy that's still playing at a high level, the leadership, the experience of winning that he has. Anytime you get a guy that's played with an elite quarterback, that's always going to help your group because he understands how it should be. Those guys kind of always help your quarterback because he can always ask. Ryan does a good job when he gets around guys that have played with other guys, asking questions how those guys did it as well. So, I mean, those guys are always good, information-wise as far as, what other teams have done, especially good teams. So, but getting a guy with that kind of veteran leadership that, was excited to come in for us and be an impact guy with some of our younger players, that was going to be good for us.
You said on Wilson, outside or inside, he's an elf. And so how do you play him outside?
Wait, what did you just say?
He's very short.
That's fine.
And so
that means he's hard to get your hands on.
He's doing.
That's all right. All right. When you see him, try to touch him. See what happens.
No, but I'm saying, doesn't that make it hard for your quarterback to,
I mean, Jakeem looked all right. We put him outside.
Okay.
He towers over Jakeem. That's why I put that. Taller than Jakeem a lot by a lot. Yeah. They're both taller than Dow. I know that. So.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Where's Hal? He was the one ripping on. No.
Taller than Dow. Good.
He was gonna be so mad. This you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
That's what he
Adam,
gets.
what you got from the safety combo once TJ McDonald came back with TJ and Rashad? What you were looking for? What you were looking for in spurts?
I don't think it really turned out as well as we thought with what we saw in training camp. I think, that 8-week layoff. TJ did a great job of being ready to go, being able to kind of really get in there and physically be able to do it. But I think we didn't have the chemistry we were looking for. I think it took those guys a while to really kind of get that feel with each other, and it'll be better, getting in training camp and for us to be able to continue that growth. I was feeling something good there when we were in the middle of training camp. It was, TJ was playing really well, and Rashad and him were really doing a good job of communicating with each other, and there was a good feel. Dow says he's 5'8".
Oh,
just heads up.
Yeah.
Don't short him.
And there's depth, obviously, you need safety with Michael moving on. At this point, Mo Smith, did he show you enough before the
He did a lot of good things. It was unfortunate that, we lost him for the season. It was just, that was one of our, show up Friday and find out, one of the guys that you had plans to play that week isn't going to play because he's going to have, he has appendicitis. So, he continued a good streak there, a good 10 weeks in a row. But he showed us a lot. There's a lot of good things he did. I think like any rookie, ups and downs. But I like where really like the guys that he learned under in college are guys that I respect a lot. And, I think he knows what we're looking for, and he knows what he needs to do moving forward to contribute. Well, I think I might not be the only one. There's probably a lot of us sitting here that thought it would be an easy transition for him, and it's still left tackle in the NFL. And I think it was, tougher for him than what all of us anticipated. But I think at the same time he felt the same way, where, hey, there's nothing easy about this. But I saw a different side of him last year. I saw a guy that started to notice that it's not that easy, and he went to work and he practiced hard, and he was great in meetings, and
the way he was watching film and how, his development as a professional improved last year. And I think he's excited moving forward, getting Josh in there to work with him and to really be the guy that he's wanted to be since he came out.
You talked about Devontae Parker. I mean, we've been hanging out here for 40 minutes, and this is the first time he's come up. You've used potential, upside. Are we kind of past that now? It's kind of like, all right, it's going to happen. Let's see it.
I would say I feel like we know what he can do in our building. I don't think there's any question what anybody feels what he can do. I don't even think it's a potential thing. I think it's a health. I think it's just about however we can keep him healthy. I think that's when we get our best, our best Devontae Parker. So I think we're trying to do as much as we can to figure out a way to make sure when we hit spring, we start from there and we just keep building on it. And, it's just unpredictable. We need a little bit of, luck. We need him to do the right things. And he has been. He's been trying to do everything the right way. And we just kind of got to see where the chips fall where they may,
I mean, Armando talking about the little guys, his skill set, because it's different, how do you need his different skill set?
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of having as many different guys as you can, and we got a good variety. We got a lot of speed. We got different sizes. We just need to keep guys healthy and on the field.
Why does it take so long for young receivers to develop in the league?
It's just there's a lot of options. A lot of moving parts. There's volume. I mean, I wish I could say it's easy. We'll just do this. And as soon as you kind of go down that road, then all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, you guys going, they know what we're doing. Or you start hearing people say, you're too predictable. Well, you want to increase the volume, you better have guys that can handle it.
Adam, do you know if Julius Thomas wants to keep on?
I could not tell you. I don't want to speak for him.
Is that anything you've explored, bringing him back at the minimum or something like that?
I haven't. I talked to him at the end of the season. Had a good conversation, and really, if anything past that, you guys would have to ask him.
And with
Same
Fasano.
question with Fasano,
Yeah, we talked at the end of the year. We're kind of, as of right now, we're probably going to be in a holding pattern. We'll kind of see what happens, and whether it be the draft or, after the draft, and then we feel like we have to still address anything, then we will from there.
Coach, what does Danny Amendola bring to your football team?
See, you guys all think I'm crazy, huh? I mean, third person to ask
I'm
us about
sorry.
it. No, that's all right.
I just jumped in. I apologize.
Leadership. He's a guy that has a lot of experience, big games. He fits in our offense really well. So we're excited to be able to bring a guy like that in our locker room, and he's going to help all our young guys, especially.
Was that something you thought that was missing, that you thought it was an important thing for you to bring into your...
It's a similar experience that I've been through before. When we brought Wes into Denver, we had a bunch of wide receivers that had a lot of positive things to bring to the table, but I don't think they quite saw it, through the eyes of a true professional. And when Wes came in, he changed our culture and environment. He was part of the reason why we had a big swing there, and those guys saw him practice, they saw him playing games, saw the way he did things in meetings in the locker room. He was a big reason a lot of things changed there. And Danny has a lot of the same personality traits, and I think like a guy like Ryan Tannehill is going to benefit a lot from being around a guy like Danny. So
last year we talked about how it was 0-0 going into 2017. 2016 was over, didn't matter, needed to start. That was like the mindset, the mentality, and the messaging. I'm wondering how you describe the mindset, the messaging, the mentality for the group entering this offseason.
I think we have so many different guys now. I don't think anybody really cares what happened last year that's in that locker room right now. There's a different feel. There's going to be a lot of different bodies, a lot of different guys, but that's what happens. You have a 6-10 season, you're going to have a lot of changeover. That's just part of it, whether it be on the coaching staff, whether it be in the locker room, staff around the building. We've made a lot of changes, and that's what happens.
Adam, is it difficult to be honest with yourself at some points and say we're not just a couple pieces away? Because generally everyone would like to think that they're that close.
You know, it's you know, you take the pieces of the puzzle that you either have or you've added, and really once you get through the draft, then you kind of got to figure out a way to make it work. I mean, the league is so close talent-wise, you know, and right now we look at everything in a positive light because we get our starting quarterback back.
Yeah, at the end of the season.
You know,
at the end of the season.
I think at the end of the season we were.
Be honest with yourself about where you're at. Is that a challenge?
No, it's not. I'd say that's the easiest thing to do. I mean, we're critical, and nobody's ever afraid to say, you know, what either went wrong or where we made a mistake. I mean, it's brutal honesty. It's not always fun to hear, but that's what it is, and that's what this league is. I mean, no one's ever shy about telling you screwed up, or you did something wrong, or you should have got this guy over this guy. I mean, that's just part of it.
Based on what you said about you got your quarterback back, so are you a better team now than at the end of last season?
Yeah. I mean, I'm always going to think that way, especially when you got a guy that you had a lot of confidence in, you lose him, and then now he's back, and we went a long time without him. And I know there's a lot of guys that are going to be in that locker room that feel the same way, because if I had to hear we get 17 back one more time at the end of the year, like that said a lot to me that I wasn't the only one thinking that.
With Ryan, obviously physically he has to get healthy, but what growth do you expect to see in this year's second year in the offense?
Sometimes when you sit and watch, you look at things in a different light. And I think he did a great job of trying to help where he could, but understanding I'm not the starting quarterback at the current moment. And he was trying to give those guys their due, their role, let them be who, you know, they needed to be. And I think what he saw was things really the clarity really picked up for him as far as why I was calling things when I was doing certain things, the way I'd install something. He understood things a lot better than what he had before, and that gets me excited. Thinking, wow, the fact that he didn't play the entire year, and now it makes more sense than it did before. And I think he understands why, you know, when I called certain things, how the ball can come out faster, what he can do protection-wise. His brain's just moving faster just from watching it. And I think he's just ready to take that next step, get back in there, and get things rolling, and then being able to do it.
Adam, you obviously have Phillips and Godchaux. You know, Hayes can play some tackle. You'll probably add a player. Did Vincent Taylor show you enough where you can project him for any sort of meaningful role next year as you evaluate?
Yeah, he was a guy that we felt like was playing well for us, and you know, it was unfortunate he got hurt. I know it was late in the season, but anytime you got to go through any kind of, you know, rehab and things like that, it's just no fun. And you know, he was a guy that if he was inactive, it didn't set well with him. You know, you'd see a guy that would just terrorize the practice field, and he wanted to make sure that everybody knew he was out there. So, you know, he's our kind of guy, and you know, I'm excited to watch him really improve. You know, the year coming forward.
You mentioned a few minutes ago when I asked you all that stuff about like theme and everything, that there was a different energy in the building because there's new people, new players, and new coaches. Can you expand upon that a little bit in terms of how would you describe that new energy?
I think you just got to feel it. I think you guys will notice it kind of when we get going and you guys get around. And I don't know, there's something about a lot of these guys that we brought in. You know, just seeing Frank Gore, like that gets me going. You know, I mean, it's been 10 years since we were together. I mean, it seems like forever. The guy looks exactly the same. Just everything about him. You know, I'm excited to see what he can do to help us. And you know, we got Danny and you know, Albert in at the same time, and then Josh was in there, and then Daniel. I mean, these guys were excited to be here. They wanted to come here. This was their decision to do it. So, you know, I think they're looking to be impact players for us.
The way Bobby McCain played last year, you feel good about that spot?
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody always wants to replace Bobby, but you know, all he does is just consistently play probably better than everybody else. But you know, he's one of our guys that's probably one of our top leaders that we have in our locker room. You know, he's the guy we've counted on for 2 years, and all he does, he just keeps getting better. You know.
Changes in that locker room last year to this year.
I mean, I'm not hoping. I know it's going to be different. So, I mean, we got different animals going. I mean, you got some alpha dogs going in there. I mean, you got some guys that are going there, and they're not going to accept, you know, a lot of the bullshit that's gone on in the past. And so, you know, we got the right guys for what we're looking for. Now you got me like mad. I'm mad all of a sudden. I don't know why.
With Kenyon, what's the next step for him as a player? As I know you don't believe in feature backs, but what's the next step for him in terms of?
I think it's just consistency and doing a great job. It's always just the amount of it's processing the information at a high rate, and when things change, being able to be like, that's happening, I got to do this, and I think that's really that next level, that next step. So I really think that's his biggest thing. You know, there was a couple times last year where we'd make a change and he's like he kind of freezes there for a second, and it's just he's a tick late, and that's just time, experience, and I think we're going to see a big jump there.
With you in the offense, I know you're a pass guy, but does it bother you that you have the least rushing in the NFL?
I mean, a lot of the stuff we do in the passing game, I mean, it's ball's coming out, it's quick. You know, we'll be more balanced this year. I mean, I have no doubt about that. I mean, we tried to do everything we could to win the game. That's all we were trying to do. I mean, certain games, you know, we had to throw it. You know, I mean, that's what we had to do. We got behind way too much. I mean, I feel like the only game that we were ever up was the New England game in Denver. That was it. You know, besides that, I mean, those games we ran the ball, you know, a healthy amount of times, especially in Denver. So, you know, we just got to do a better job of getting ahead and trying to, you know, play with the lead a little bit. And that's really what we need to do.
So, with respect, right, you're putting a lot on Ryan Tannehill. He's a 500 quarterback. He's a 87 rating quarterback. You expect to go to the playoffs. You expect to compete with the New England Patriots because Ryan Tannehill is back.
I think Ryan coming back with the amount of guys that we brought in on offense, I think that's going to help us a lot. You know, so I mean, it's not all on him. I know for us to have success, he has to play well. I mean, that's the way this league is. Like, there's not a lot of times where you're saying like the quarterback is not playing well and they're winning. I mean, it's rare if that's happening. I mean, the majority of the time, the quarterback has to play well. He knows that. I know that. You guys know that. It's no secret, you know. And the good thing is after our first 4 games, first year we were together, 5 games. I mean, played pretty well, and he was playing at a high level, and you know, we were excited. We had high hopes coming in the last season, and it didn't work out the way we wanted to, and now we got an opportunity to start over again and get going.
So the next time that he plays, he will have missed over 600 games, 600 days. You see that there will be no rust, no issues relative.
I mean, this is what these guys do. I mean, practice, and then we get in the preseason. I mean, it'll be fine. You know, you're worrying about something you don't need to worry about. Does it count that he played? Did he count when he played like 70? Everybody told me 75 straight games and never missed a snap and all that stuff. And he's played 13 out of 32 to 33 games since I've been here. So, I mean, shit happens. And this is what guys do. They bounce back. They have a couple seasons where things like that happens. And now he's gonna be back out there and ready to go.
I asked during the season, you said, yes, it's true, but I'm not going to be able to risk the offseason. Why 2 years the offense started slow, then turned on the halfway point? 6 months of the year now, whatever it is for you. How do you explain that?
Well, I mean, the first year the first year was more on me trying to figure it out. I don't know why it was very difficult for me to kind of figure out, you know, really how to call plays for Ryan. I mean, I struggled and just couldn't get in a good feel. I think once that Pittsburgh game hit,
it became a different feel for me. And then the next year it was really, it was a lot tougher than what I think any of us anticipated by losing Ryan, bringing Jay in, and then it was kind of like things got flipped around for us, and a lot of things that we've been working on we weren't doing anymore. So, it was like we were starting over, in the middle, like in front of everybody. So it was kind of very tough for us to go through that first half of the season because we looked terrible.
Yeah. Anything with Dell that you're going to give him to take anything off your play? Obviously, you'll keep calling plays as you should, but is there anything you will give him different?
Yeah, Dell, we have a very easy working relationship to where he knows me well enough to where he was doing a lot of the things that I needed him to do. I don't really have to say anything. He just goes and he does it. He knows how to organize it. He knows how to manage the staff. So it's very, very smooth transition. Still having Clyde, around is extremely helpful for us. And we got him doing a lot of different things with some of our younger players. So, it'll be Dow knows exactly kind of what he needs to do, what he needs to get done, and where I kind of fit into this whole equation.
We obviously will always remember the press conference of yours after the Baltimore game, which you talked about players not preparing. As you look back at last year, just from an introspective standpoint, is there anything, Adam, you decided I want to do this differently as a coach now, whether it's enforcing, learning the playbook even more than you had, or anything else?
We have some good thoughts on kind of how we want to do some things moving forward, and we feel confident in kind of some of the stuff that we're looking to do this offseason, and like in that phase 1, phase 2 areas is how we can get really our guys to learn better and take things with the seriousness they need to. So, sometimes you gotta add the right guys to show other guys the right way.
As you go through every corner of your roster, evaluating it, are you worried at all that John Denny has lost his step?
Is that the best question I've ever heard?
That is awesome.
That is what a way
no,
to close.
I don't. I'll tell you what. He did a great job for us last year. I'm glad that he's back. He looks way better than I do. I know that. I think he's older than me. Is he older than me or am I older than him? It's close, right?
No, you're older than him.
I'm older than him, barely?
Yeah. I think so, no?
That's a great question right there. That's a great question.
I'm pretty sure I'm right.
I got Rizzy from Davey on mine too.
Hey, Dave DeGulia,